welcome to another edition of Have a Beer with Wayne. Oh, crap, that's no good. We need to go make some beer. Follow me. Okay, this is the kind of the start of it. This is our grain room. We have that malted barley out here. I keep about 20 different kinds on hand for all the various beers we make. You know, the light beers, dark beers, hoppy beers. Today we're going to be making our 2020 Pale Ale. So I've selected 5 different kinds of grain. We have 3 different types of 2-row barley, which will be our base grain. And then we throw in a little bit of carapils. That helps with some head retention and foam stability. And then for some color and sweetness, we're going to use that Caramel 40. That's one of those darker roasted malts we talked about. But before we can put the grain into our mash tun and start making beer, we need to run it through a mill. We can't really use this whole kernels. We need to crush them just a little bit so that we can get to the proteins and carbohydrates to get the sugars out that we want. And then when we get done milling it, it'll look a bit like this. It's cracked open, has a little bit of holes are still intact, which will help us with our filter bed in the mash tun. So let's finish grinding it up and put it to work. Okay, our grain's all ground. Water's getting hot. Won't be long. We'll have cereal. Hey, welcome to the brewery. This is where the process takes place. We have what's called a 2-barrel system here at the pub. A barrel being 31 gallons, so we can make 2 barrels at a time. Our brew batches are typically around 62 to 65 gallons. The system's made up primarily of 3 containers. We have on the right side what's called a hot liquor tank, which is pretty much just a glorified hot water heater. Brewers call the water that we use to make beer liquor, so it's a hot liquor tank. The middle vessel is our mash tun. That's where we're going to add the grain to what's called strike water, which is a calculated amount of water. Inside there's what's called a false bottom, which is the false bottom acts as a screen. So when we put the grain in there, we'll let it steep for about an hour and 10 minutes, and then we'll pull what's called the sweet liquor. We'll pump it out and put it over into the boil kettle. The boil kettle is this one here. Has the gas burners underneath, and when that sweet liquor gets pumped over to the boil kettle, we call that wort, and we'll boil the wort for about an hour and 20 minutes, and we'll add hops on a schedule. So right now we're just waiting for the water to get hot. So some of the science has come involved with the brewing. We have physics going down. We got our strike water in here at 172 degrees. We can add our grain, which is about 62 degrees. When it gets all stirred up, it'll even out hopefully to about 152 degrees, which is our proper mash temperature for today's batch. So we got it stirred up. Consistency's kind of like oatmeal. The temperature's coming right on spot. About 154 right now. We'll let chemistry play. The enzyme's working on the proteins, the carbohydrates, and the grain. Convert them into sugar, and we'll pump that sweet liquor out of here in about an hour and a half. Start making beer. All right, it's been an hour and 10 minutes now. We have our pumps hooked up and our filter grant in place. It's time to start sparging. That's where we're going to take more of the hot liquor water, pump it in on top of the grain bed, flush out the sugars into our filter grant, pump it on over to our boil kettle. Here's our oatmeal looking mash. Alright, we have our sparge water pumping in on top of the grain. Sweet liquor, all that sugar water is coming off the bottom of the grain bed into our filter grants. And then pumping it over into our boil kettle. This will all take about 45 minutes. Alright, our wort's starting to come to a boil. It's time to add some hops. First one's under those bittering hops. We're going with Simcoe today. And then they're boiling for about an hour. Right, that bitterness will pour our tail in. Back a bit down the aroma hops and flavor hops. Real cool. We use our paddle to get it started, and then we'll put in our aroma hops. Give that citrusy aroma we're looking for. They go in here at the very end. Boiled for about an hour and 20 minutes. Days of old, for accurate timepieces, I guess. There was an old story that German brewers, they'd know when the work was done. There we go. By how well their mash paddles stuck to their leather pants. So that's got to be accurate. Okay, we'll let the whirlpool go in here for about 15 minutes. The whirlpool, the action will help settle the trub and the hops to the bottom. And then we'll let it settle. It's kind of going for a minute before long. Okay, we're transferring our wort into the fermenter now. First it goes into our filter grant, which helps pick up some more of the trub and hops that are in the bottom of the boil kettle. Runs through our pump into a heat exchanger that's cooled with water. It's also in an ice water bath. We put in a little bit of oxygen that helps for yeast growth. Then it gets into the fermenter. Cools it off down to 68 degrees. That'll be the perfect temperature for pitching our yeast. This all takes about a half an hour. Well, they say there's a lot of magic going into making beer. So if that's the case, then this here's the magic wand, the yeast. We can do all we can back here, batch to batch, but the yeast has the final word to how the beer is going to turn out. Alrighty, it's in your hands now. Good luck. So if worst comes to worst, y'all know what how to brew beer. So if you get locked at home too long, this whole mess nephew's brewery in Iowa. I taught him everything he knows, and not everything I know. Cheers! We have beer again. And it's only been 20 days. The yeast worked its magic. Well, this whole Corona thing going on, at least now you all know how to make beer. So, till we meet again, be safe, practice that social distancing. Thanks for having a beer with Wayne.